I'm gonna have to talk about the recent news, aren't I? Yeah, just give me 1 minute. Good. Gonna have to talk about some news today, guys. Welcome back to the channel, where we rank, review, trailer react, and talk about news on movies, TV shows, and sometimes video games. And today, it's a bit of a odd mood video. As some of you may not know, recently, Tom Holland, for those who are Spider-Man fans, Tom Holland was revealed that he doesn't exactly want to play Spider-Man until he's 30. Now I'm going to break this down. I'm not going to break down the possibility of he's dying or not. Let me explain it, and let's break down what's going to happen for the future of his character in the MCU. Let's start with the first bit. Tom Holland. As many of you may know, Tom Holland began playing the role of Spider-Man at 19 years old in 2016's Captain America Civil War. He was obviously 20 by the time they did Spider-Man Homecoming, and then 21 by the time they were filming Avengers Endgame, and then 22 by the time they were doing No Way Home. And then now he's 23, and so he's 24 this year. He'll be turning 24 years old this year. And I can kind of see why they'll have to graduate him to college. And next year, he'll be 25. By 2023, he'll be 26. Now, for those of you who obviously or may not know, Tobey Maguire, the first ever actor to portray the first actor to portray Spider-Man back in the 2000s, well, not the first live-action actor, but one of the big actors to portray him, played him at 26 and portrayed a high schooler. And he did not exactly look like a high schooler. I'll even be saying that in my own future review coming of Spider-Man 2002, that none of the actors looked like they were teenagers. Kirsten Dunst more likely, but the other actors pretty much did not look at all like they were from high school. Looked like looked like they were midway through college. So then Andrew Garfield, it's a bit dicey. They did look like they were in high school, but it was a bit dicey, though, so. Then in Homecoming, now obviously they're the right age, but now they're not getting to that age where they're not really exactly the same age as they were when they started playing the characters. Obviously now means now Tom Holland wants to move on to other things. Do I believe he's going to quit now? Hell no. Do I believe he'll quit later? Yes, of course he quits, but he won't be Spider-Man forever. I don't think he wants Spider-Man to be his defining role. A lot of actors have tried not to be in their defining role, but often actresses like Megan Fox have been typecast as sex objects. As often her most easily iconic role is as Michaela Baines from the Transformers films, and due to her controversial statements about the director, it got her pretty knocked off the idea of getting into more big budget movies anymore. And had she not said that, she probably would have been able to continue being in big budget movies. But yeah, this is different. Tom Holland wants to continue being Spider-Man. I do believe what he means. He's just preparing for the future where he doesn't want to be Spider-Man anymore. I can see that. And unlike them, Andrew Garfield didn't mind playing Spider-Man into his mid-30s. Tom Holland's different. I think he's just one of those people that really wanted a dream come true. Now that he's got the dream, he kind of wants to end the dream now. Now that that dream's over, the purpose of the dream is no longer existent. Because, well, now that he's 24, he'll be 25 next year. And by that point, he may even appear in future. I do think he'll appear in future movies. Because he's like only in his mid-20s. He's only a few years away from 30 years old. Am I being selfish? Yes, we're being a bit selfish. Us fans should take the perspective of Tom Holland of this. And yes, my hair's a bit messy on the side. I keep trying to pull it down, but that's it. Do I believe he'll quit now? No. But I do believe that after his contract finishes, Tom Holland will want to relax for the rest of 2021 and mostly likely nearly all or most of 2022. Do I think he'll reprise the role? Oh yes, I think he'll reprise the role. Likely in the new Kraven the Hunter film in Spider-Man vs. Venom flick, because when Spider-Man was plucked out of the MCU, he went to Amy Pascal's house to pitch ideas for Spider-Man movies. A Kraven Hunter film, a Spider-Man vs. Venom film, and a Spider-Man 4, 5, and 6. Do you think we'll get... Yes, we are getting a Kraven the Hunter film and a Spider-Man vs. Venom, because they're obviously teasing that with Venom Let There Be Carnage. So it's obviously that Tom Holland will likely follow through on it. Plus, Spider-Man's story isn't completely done in the MCU. As people may know, we're getting Spider-Man freshman year, which will go back to the earliest Spider-Man. Then that will finish off the story that will continue into Civil War, Homecoming, Infinity War, Endgame, and Far From Home and No Way Home. After No Way Home, it's likely that he'll appear in the Spider-Man vs. Venom film, the Kraven the Hunter film, even a Spider-Man 4, 5, and 6, where he'll probably go through college. Because I believe they'll want to go through all his years. As Kevin Feige has said many times, he wants to try and go through everything Peter's been through. He wants to go through high school and then go through college. It's likely that Spider-Man 4, 5, and 6 will accomplish that goal. And after that, it would be, I think that after another trilogy of films, in my opinion, after another 3 more films, like another trilogy, so after a Spider-Man vs. Venom film, because that will be the ultimate end goal for a lot of fans that want to see them fight each other on the big screen again, him appearing in Kraven the Hunter, and another trilogy of films, and then that team-up movie, I think after that, that'd be a good enough time for him to end his story arc. Because cutting it off at Spider-Man No Way Home would not be a good idea. It's clearly stated he's not gonna die. But I think after 3 more movies he does. Here's the thing. So he's obviously done Spider-Man freshman year. So after Spider-Man freshman year, there's Civil War, Homecoming, Infinity War, Endgame, Far From Home, and No Way Home. After No Way Home should be Kraven Hunter. Then Spider-Man vs. Venom. Then a Spider-Man 4, 5, and 6. And as many of you know, he re-signed his contract. I think he may have re-signed the contract. I think they may have agreed to, Sony and Disney have agreed a new negotiation for Spider-Man appearing in 1 solo film and 1 team-up movie. So that team-up movie will likely be, in my opinion, his final MCU appearance. Do I think Tom will want to play Spider-Man until he's 30? Here's the possibilities. Wait. Let's just wait until he's 30. Because Tom Holland, you may know, people change their minds as you get older. You kind of change your mind and adapt your new mind. And who knows, even if he leaves the role, he may come back and reprise the role again. Who knows? He is the current Spider-Man, but that doesn't mean he's all out of the woods yet. Like he said in the interviews, he's just thinking about the future. And yes, we may even get Miles Morales. But he's just thinking about the possibility of the future of it. Like, what's the future going to look like for him? Plus, I think he'll obviously want a satisfying ending, because as many of you know who are major Spider-Man film fans and have watched nearly if you've known about it, neither of his predecessors got an ending they deserved for their respective Spider-Man. The last time we saw Peter Parker, he was dancing with Mary Jane in a diner. The last time we saw Andrew's Peter Parker, he was about to throw a manhole cover in Rhino's face. That's the last time we never saw this. Those Spider-Man are both meant to get sequels. Amazing Spider-Man 3 and 4 was to be made, and Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 4 was meant to be made. But that never happened. So yeah. No, Spider-Man's not going to die No Way Home. No, it's not going to end there. I think Tom Holland's just preparing for the future. Preparing for a future where there may not be a Spider-Man. Also, and number 4, just wait until he gets to 30. Maybe he may change his mind. If he doesn't, then that's fine. But we gotta wait for his age. Because people change their minds over time. Time can come with change. And change can be good and bad. So it's better to just let Tom Holland decide his choice. We always have a choice. As one person was saying him said, no matter what, we always have a choice. And it's the choices that make us who we are. And that we can always choose to do what's right. That is that. We always have a choice. It's the choices that make us who we are. But we can always choose to do what's right. That is the answer. He has a choice. Will he continue playing Spider-Man? Likely after 24, yeah, he will likely continue playing a role. Will he leave right now? Hell no. Will he leave next year? Maybe, maybe not. I doubt he's going to leave in the next few years, only until probably around his late 20s. That would be the perfect time to round up the role and pretty much move on to the next thing. Although it will be sad to see him go, we did know one day that Tom Holland wasn't going to stay Spider-Man forever. And as we knew, even Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire weren't going to stay forever. It was likely that after Spider-Man 4, Tobey was going to finish up. Andrew, after a few Amazing Spider-Man films, would have finished up his runs too. Because overall, there's 2 things you got to factor in here. 1, even after Tom leaves, Sony will want to make more money. They're a company that revolves around wanting to make money. And Spider-Man is their biggest flagship character. Of course, they'll want to continue on even without Holland in the seat of the Spider-Man. I don't think we're ready for a fourth reboot. I think rebooting them would be a disrespect to the character. We've gone 3 reboots. And how can you make it different again if you reboot them? You can't make him different again. So as you say, yes you can. You can just adapt the recent comics. No, you can't, because he keeps a consistent personality in those comics. Well, not exactly, but you know what I mean. So those who say, oh, they can just reboot him. Some of those who say that is just complete bullshit. There's no answer to rebooting him. Rebooting him is not the answer to anything. Rebooting only cause pain for the fans. I've only been around for 14 years on this planet. I've only had to see 3 Spider-Man. I was born when the 3rd Spider-Man movie came out. And Spider-Man 4 was meant to come out by the time I was 4 years old. But that was cancelled, and then by the time I was 5, The Amazing Spider-Man 1 came out. And by the time I was 7, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out. And before you knew it, that movie franchise was bombed too. So then, when I'm now 9, Captain America Civil War comes out, showing us a brand new Spider-Man. 10, 11, and 12. We now have another set of Spider-Man movies. Then, at 14 years old right now, is now a new Spider-Man film. And then likely in the next few years will be another set of Spider-Man movies. Plus, Tom Holland's got another big franchise on his hands that I don't exactly think he was meant for, but he was put in, which is the Uncharted series. One of my friends who really loves Uncharted says it's set in the continuity of the video games. But I don't think it is. I think it's more set in its own continuity, like the Sonic films, because, well, putting it in an already established continuity really makes no sense, in my opinion. But here's the question: will Peter Parker die in No Way Home? No. Will he retire the role right next year? Nope. He's probably just thinking about the years of when he wants to finish. That's why you gotta look out for the future. You can't just expect it to finish whenever you want to. Plus, who knows, maybe he'll actually do 10 movies, like I said. Like, if he said if they wanted him to do 10 movies, he'll do 10. Because he's done 6 movies so far. 7, 8, 9 would be the new trilogy. And 10 would be Spider-Man vs. Venom. Obviously, he really is big on pleasing the fans. Andrew and Toby would like that too. But unfortunately for Andrew and Mark Webb really wanted to... Andrew Garfield and Mark Webb really wanted to please the fans, but they couldn't because Sony was so restricting. But Tom really does want to please the fans, and I do think he'll obviously give us a Spider-Man vs. Venom, and so will Tom Hardy, considering those two both really know that the fans really want it. And there'll likely be a Venom 3. Plus, not to mention, after No Way Home, Peter will likely hop into the Venom universe for a bit. By that I mean the Venom universe is now canon to the MCU. Peter will hop in that universe for a bit and move around in that universe. So we set within the confines of the MCU, just a different corner of the MCU. So, like, imagine... So it's like Peacemaker from the Suicide Squad. He's got his own show, so it's in that universe, but it's set within the DC universe, DCEU, but it's its own thing. Like with the Sony universe, it's a different quarter of the MCU. Whereas the rest is all MCU. This is the more different Spider-Man sector of the MCU. With Spider-Man leading it. So yeah. Do I believe Spider-Man's gonna die in No Way Home? No. Do I believe he'll leave one day? Yeah. I think he's just prepping for the future. And now that's not a whole lot of time. People change their mind all the time. And I do think Tom Holland still wants to be Spider-Man. He's still very interested in the role. But let's see him change his mind, okay, guys? But yeah. That's the video. Tell me guys what you think. And I'll see you guys later.